Okay, look, it's great that Michael Bay has acknowledged that the 80s and 90s Ninja Turtles existed. So, could you acknowledge the early 2000s one? Come on, I'd like to see Agent Bishop, I'd like to see Hun, guys like that, the Purple Dragons. Come on, the 2003 one existed and was kind of better than the 80s one in all honesty. But, alas, the 2003 one gets no fan service from this movie at all. Allow me to fix that.
Turtles, count it off! 1, 2, 3, 4, turtles! There's no one better!
Watch out for Shredder!
Turtles! They're like no others! Turtles! Those teenage brothers! 1, 2, 3, 4! 1, 2, 3, 4! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm here to let you know that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows is no perfect movie. So in Out of the Shadows, Shredder, played by Brian T., has escaped from prison, and he has two of his minions who call themselves Bebop and Rocksteady, played by Gary Anthony Williams and Seamus Farley, and has them mutated into a rhino and a warthog so that they can help an alien creature named Krang, voiced by Brad Garrett, to take over the world. And it's up to the Ninja Turtles, who return along with April O'Neil and their very new friend Casey Jones, played by Stephen Amell, to stop them. The best part about Out of the Shadows for me, just like the last film, are the Turtles themselves. Alan Ritchson, Pete Plozek, Noel Fisher, and Jeremy Howard, they all do a very good job at portraying the characters' personalities as they've always been. And there is an arc revolving this ooze that they find, that mutated Bebop and Rocksteady, that they find out can actually mutate mutants into humans, granted they have the right amount of ooze. And they wonder, should they remain turtles and stay in the shadows, or should they be able to come out to the regular world and interact with the rest of humanity? And the way that they handled this arc, for me anyways, I thought was okay. It wasn't anything revolutionary or anything as far as Ninja Turtles goes. But as an overall arc, I thought it was handled okay. And while there aren't a ton of action scenes in this movie that really stood out for me or were even that, I don't know, really that badass, there was, just like how the avalanche chase in the first film was like the best fight scene by far, in this one, the action set piece that really stands out the most is when the Turtles go skydiving from one plane onto another, which was a lot of fun to watch. The angles in which the scene was shot in make you feel as if you're actually diving in the sky with the Turtles. And when they actually board the plane and they end up fighting the Foot Clan and Bebop and Rocksteady, it is a lot of fun, it's very well choreographed, and there's a lot of creativity in terms of the fighting. Unfortunately, even though this movie is directed by Dave Green, who also made Earth to Echo, this movie still looks and feels exactly like a Michael Bay film, even though he's the producer. There's still a lot of random shots where the camera goes from normal to a Dutch angle whenever something big happens. The shots always look very dimly lit, which I guess is supposed to hide the fact that nearly everything you're looking at is CGI, and they cram in so many computer objects into certain action scenes that you can barely even tell what's going on. And just like in the last one, whenever it's some normal people fighting other normal people, they just shake the camera. I was really looking forward to Steve Amell kicking ass in a lot of action scenes, but whenever he's fighting as Casey Jones, I'm not even kidding, the shaky cam actually looks worse than the shaky cam in Arrow, which I didn't even think was possible. Oh, and keeping in the spirit of Michael Bay, there's even a scene, you know in the trailer where you see the Halloween parade that Mikey crashes? He actually bumps into and fist bumps a guy dressed as a Transformer for Halloween. I'm not even kidding, folks. I was really looking forward to Stephen Amell as Casey Jones, and even though his performance isn't bad, it's not a retread of his work on Arrow, and they actually give him a decent backstory as to why he's helping the Turtles. All he is there for is to give speech after speech of exposition about who his character is, where he's from, what he does, and what his character wants to accomplish. And you never feel it because you never actually see him do any of those things. All you do is see him give speech after speech because there was no time in the movie for us to actually show him as a character. And I was really looking forward for Bebop and Rocksteady. And Gary Anthony Williams and Seamus Farley, they have very good chemistry with each other. I think Gary Anthony Williams is very funny on the newer episodes of Whose Line Is It Anyway? But I also wanted to see them fight the Turtles. That was what they did in the 80s cartoon, right? And as you saw in the trailer, they do fight on top of that plane. But that is literally, and I mean literally, the only scene, actually, where the Turtles and Bebop and Rocksteady are in the exact same location. That's just anticlimactic. I mean, come on. There were also two characters in this movie who absolutely annoyed me, even annoyed me more than the two kids who were sitting next to me in the theater. The first one was Tyler Perry as Baxter Stockman. Now, hear me out on this. I know dude can act. He was great in Gone Girl, and not gonna lie, a couple of those Madea movies did make me laugh every once in a while. But in this movie, all he does is act more like a cartoon than the 2003 version. In fact, the 2012 version is probably more dignified than this guy. He has this really annoying, evil laugh where, as I was listening, I thought, is he trying to play Baxter Stockman or is he trying to be Fat Albert? And he is constantly going on and on about what a genius he is, that I actually wished that he got as mutilated as he did in the cartoon, which unfortunately he didn't, but what can you do? And oh my god, why was Will Arnett back in this movie? He's actually even more obnoxious and self-centered in this one than he was in the last one, which I didn't even think was possible. And they give him this arc where, I'm not even kidding, and this is a minor spoiler, but I really doubt you guys care. You know how the Turtles defeated Shredder? Hell, April was the one who kicked them off the ledge at the very end? Well, in order to keep themselves hidden, they gave that credit to Vern. The fact that the Turtles actually let Vern take the credit makes zero sense, and when you look at him, you would not believe at all that this guy took on a Yakuza member and kicked his ass. And it is just pathetic to see other people treat him like such a big celebrity. There is seriously a scene where he is making bags of air because people would pay, according to him, $200 a pop for a bag of his hot air. He was such a pain in the ass. If this movie focused solely on the Turtles and on Bebop and Rocksteady, and didn't have the huge amount of subplots like Casey Jones's career or April O'Neil's career, or even Krang, who is barely in this, despite the fact that the voice actor Brad Garrett actually does a good job, and I'd actually like to see more of him as Krang. But if you focus mostly on the Turtles and on Bebop and Rocksteady, I think you would have had a really good Ninja Turtle movie. And like I said at the very beginning, there is a whole other universe of stuff in the Ninja Turtles universe that you can adapt. You do not need to stick to the 80s version or the 90s version. Because don't forget, there are kids who grew up with the 2003 one. I didn't grow up with it, but I did watch a few episodes, so I do know enough. And the 2012 version is pretty much the only reason that little kids go and see the newer ones. So, yeah, if this movie focused more... I know I'm repeating myself, I apologize, but if it focused on the Turtles and Bebop and Rocksteady, I think you would have had possibly the best Ninja Turtles movie we've had yet. But we didn't. So I'm going to give Out of the Shadows a 1.5 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out my other reviews at NoPerfectMovie.com. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care.